Hey guys, so I'm gonna film a quick little video about the whole Biden-Trump debate, even though in my honest opinion it wasn't really much of a debate. Anyway, so this video is less of a, hey, I've got notes and thought it out. It's more simply my own thoughts. As a Canadian, love the shirt. I think, as I said, it wasn't much of a debate. It's truly surprising that the Democrats think that if we literally shuffle this corpse on stage, and for like 90 minutes we'll inject him full of drugs and all that shit, which is the only thing Hunter Biden's actually good for, injecting his dad full of drugs. If they think for 90 minutes we're going to be able to just inject him with drugs, proceed to have him stand on stage and answer low-loved, low-ball questions, because that's pretty much what it was. I didn't really see any. Well, for the 30 minutes that me and my editor sat down and watched it, because the reason we stopped watching it after 30 minutes was, the whole Biden thing. It was like, me and him were like, this is just sad, pathetic. But also with Trump, it's like, we're looking at it like, he obviously doesn't want to be too vicious, but he doesn't also want to be too nice. So it's kind of like you're thinking like, well, this is not good to watch. I tuned in to watch Trump, versus Biden, not two old men standing on stage and politely nodding. Anyway, just to quickly summarize this, because as I said, we only watched it for 30 minutes before we turned it off and decided, hey, we're gonna listen to some music that's more entertaining than Biden and Trump. My final thoughts is quite simply, like, that debate showed how fucked up Biden is and how desperate the Democrats are to claim the power. Kind of like Trudeau here in Canada. Although, seeing as we're talking about liberals. So, for you Americans, I might want to turn the volume up in this video just a little bit. Maybe turn your hearing aids up. Yeah, works. I personally think, when it comes to Biden, anybody can beat him in a debate. I can beat him in a debate about American economics and American policy. And I've visited America a couple times, but I don't know enough about America to basically say anything about their economic state. But if I was debating Biden, I could easily out-debate him. And if you really want to get technical, one of Canada's former liberal, which you Americans on the left would call Democrats, so one of our former Democrat leaders, Canada's 20th Prime Minister of Canada, Jean Chrétien, which is the proper way to pronounce it. He reigned from November 4th, 93 to December 12th, 2003. Jean Chrétien, effective of this date, June 28th, 2024, is 90 years old. 90. He is 9 years Biden's senior. And he could out-debate him on American politics. And if you don't believe me, I'm gonna have two clips of both Jean Chrétien, as close as I can get to this date, June 28th, 2024, talking in an interview, having a debate, and Joe Biden. Same thing, as close as I can get to this date.
That's a great asset. More inflation. What a stupid son of a...
Are you waiting on food?
making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare.
Et j'ai eu à travailler beaucoup avec lui. C'était un homme très connaissant et un collègue très agréable. On pouvait avoir des désaccords, mais c'est ça qu'est la politique. C'est des débats entre, pas des ennemis, mais des gens qui n'ont pas nécessairement les points de vue, mais en bien des circonstances, il a été très utile, particulièrement dans des moments difficiles comme le rapatriement de la Constitution, la Charte des droits. Il était d'un soutien important pour moi. Et je suis toujours demeuré un ami. C'était un homme très agréable à rencontrer, qui avait un bon sens de l'humour et qui était bien connaissant. Il était professeur d'université et qui avait des intérêts dans toutes sortes de choses. Alors, c'était un bon politicien, un grand politicien et un grand Canadien.
C'est vrai parce qu'il a soutenu le rapatriement de la Constitution.
Oui, les NPD m'ont appuyé là-dessus. J'avais des conversations parfois avec lui à ce sujet-là, avec David Lewis, qui avait été son prédécesseur, et avec Tommy Douglas lui-même, qui était à la retraite, et à quelques reprises, ils avaient des problèmes avec ça, avec certains députés à l'intérieur des NPD. Alors, et Lewis et Tommy Douglas m'ont appelé pour m'encourager, puis me donner des conseils. Ah, c'est des beaux moments de la politique que j'ai vécu. Il était un vrai bon député, un vrai bon parlementaire.
I heard this already in English.
Yes.
In English, what went through your mind when you heard Mr. Broadbent?
But he was a very good MP. He was elected in Oshawa, and he was a professor of university, and he became quickly the leader, replaced David Lewis, and his previous predecessor was Tommy Douglas. And during the patriation of the Constitution and the Charter of Rights and Freedom, you know, there was some disagreement within every political parties, and we had many discussions to that effect. And a few times I had communication with Tommy Douglas and with David Lewis to that effect. And in Parliament, he was always very civilized. He was never nasty. We had tough differences, but it's like playing hockey. You know, you can go to a hockey game, and you can bum a guy in the ramp or be bumped. After the game, you can have a beer together. So that was politics. Is that, you know, we all elected to do our best. We might have disagreement, but everybody wants to do a job. Ideas vary. It's what is democracy, and it is very good that we can disagree on things, but be united for the goal of making a better country.
As you think about sort of your own career in politics, and I know you get asked many times, like, how does that compare then versus now? Do you think the concept of a noble politician is still there?
You know, the problem is when you're in the fight, we don't see that. It's only when it's over that realize that despite of the conflicts, you know, there was some friendship there. And we all, in fact, try to do better for the country. We might disagree on the way to achieve it, but nobody is elected to be a troublemaker. Some of them are by temperament, but you know, everybody generally try to do a good job.
Do you think the public's perception of politics and politicians, though, is still one of nobility? And do you think that the whole trajectory, the whole whatever drama you want to call it of Donald Trump in the United States has impacted that?
Yes, somewhat, probably. We'll see that later on. As I said yesterday, I was involved in politics in 1956. I was the president of the Young Liberal in Laval University. So I watched politics since that time. I never woke up in the morning with one big headline. Canada had a great day yesterday. We must have had at least one in these 68 years, something like that. But it's the nature of communication. A good news is not a news. A bad news is a news, as I say. A dog who bites a man, it's not a news. But if a man was to bite a dog, it would be a hell of a big news, and it's two animals doing the same thing. So, we have to be realist and look at the life and do what you can. And for me, I always done my best, and I could not do better than my best. Perhaps my best was not good enough for some, but there's nothing I can do.
So, I noticed something while I'm editing this video. The other kind of weird thing I found about Biden during the whole debate thing, it's like, we're almost going to need to hire Ozzy Osbourne to translate for him. I can totally see it now. The whole, Mr. President, what are you going to do about this? Somebody get the translator. Ozzy shuffles on stage. He says Trump's a liar. I could totally see it. Couldn't you?
I think, like with most things, most countries, it's going to be a right-wing wave. Hey, if I don't hold on, knock on wood. I think it's going to be a right-wing wave, not just here in Canada, but also in America. So, to the Democrats in America, to the Liberals in Canada, to the Tories in the UK, even though you're supposed to be the Conservatives, I think you're going to get beat by the Lib Dems. The point that I'm saying, there's going to be a right-wing wave. And the two options the Democrats and the Liberals and every other people in the Western world have, the two options you have is either, learn to take it and proceed to move on with your life. Maybe try your hand at learning some debating skills and some reasoning skills, and maybe try again in another 4 or 5 years. Or it's gonna be what I expect it to be. Every left-wing inbred fuck is going to be clinging to power, doing what every 3-year-old child has done, throwing a fucking tantrum.
Oh, you don't actually know, do you? Because, like every other tantruming child in history, Bonnie, you don't actually know what you want. So let me ask you a question about this brave new world of yours. When you've killed all the bad guys, and when it's all perfect and just and fair, when you have finally got it exactly the way you want it, what are you going to do with the people like you? The troublemakers. How are you going to protect your glorious revolution from the next one?
So, the two options you have, you can throw a tantrum and get your ass handed to you, or learn to accept it. Anyway, Ed with you later.